Hi everyone, welcome to Low Sal Life. I'm Sarah, and if you haven't figured it out, I am trying to do a Low Sal spring sprint where I work through all of my scripts and my props, and put together maybe a month worth of content. We'll do it until I either get pooped out or until I lose interest. So for now, here's another video. Today we're testing Hemp or Originals, I think it's called Color Organics lipsticks. So I've been using these for about 7 years, I think. I think I went Low Sal in 2019, maybe 18. So this book here recommended it. It's called Salicylate Intolerance, The Healthier I Ate, The Sicker I Got. It's one of the really important little books that I read when I was first getting started. The lady's name is Joan Ablahani. And she said that she switched to this lipstick, and so that's the reason I did too. The ingredients have some questionable items in there for people who are low sal, and I haven't really seen most of these tested for salicylate levels. So it has castor oil, beeswax, carnauba wax, hemp seed oil, jojoba oil, or jojoba oil. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm a book nerd. I read more than I hear. Tocopherols, vitamin E, and then a slew of colors. So some iron oxides. I'm not sure if they use mica or not. You have to look at each ingredient list for each lipstick because the colors do change. So pretty much castor oil, hemp seed oil, and the jojoba. Those I would say are probably a little bit questionable. The beeswax, probably not so much. I've used beeswax without a problem. It's pretty well tolerated. And then the carnauba wax, that one, I believe that one is just so processed. I haven't really heard anybody react to that one either. However, collectively, this set of ingredients, I am aware of at least one person that has amine and salicylate sensitivity, and they do react to this. So I share this with a grain of salt that it may not work for you, but it may. I use this all the time. However, I use these every day. There are a couple other lipsticks that I rotate through, but for the most part, these are on my lips like 80% of the time, and I find that they're a really nice, just everyday lipstick. You can get them off of Amazon. That's usually where I get them. I've also found them at some nicer pharmacies. Like there's one in Seattle I used to get them at, and maybe even Whole Foods. So I think I've seen them there as well. So you can go and pick them up. Great. Let's go with colors. So we'll start with my favorite one. Mine is Scarlet Fire. Let's talk about my skin tone real quick. I have a warm undertone, and I have a high contrast, so I'm quite fair, but I have a lot of dark coloring in my eyes and my hair, and I look best in this color, which is why I put it on today. So I look my very best. I'm not wearing any makeup, and yet, as kind of a little bit about my coloring, let's see, anything else? Yeah, I get a little bit whiter and bluer during the winter, but for the most part, the warm tones work really well for me with the bright chroma, the really bright colors. The Scarlet Fire is kind of an interesting one, and I'll give you some close-ups of these as well. But I never thought that this would be my favorite just by picking it out, and that's why I wanted to do some color try-ons for you guys. But it looks quite dark, and this one's kind of interesting because it has a really like opalescent shimmer to it. Okay, there you go, Scarlet Fire. Now, one thing I like and I don't like about it, and maybe it's because I'm getting old lips, I have noticed that if I like, and this can be any lipstick, but I end up with these two little highlights on the top of my lip, so I have to make sure that I fill that in and I don't transfer it somewhere else. And it's possible that my lips are just a little bit wrinkly. The other thing is sometimes I get some uneven spots, and I don't think that you can really see that in real life, but when I'm on the camera or on a Zoom call, it'll drive me crazy because I'll have like a darker spot right there, and it just drives me nuts. So because it's not a matte lipstick, sometimes those variations can be really noticeable. You can look through some of my other videos. I've published plenty where I'm like, oh, I hate my lipstick. So that's that. I will say that this one is also nice because it has, it gets a little bit darker if you layer it on. So sometimes I'll put it on really thick. This one's new. This one's Sienna. It's kind of a nude for me. It's actually almost the same shade as my lips, and I like it. I personally think that the color is a little pale for me, but I just like a little bit brighter lip, so it matches the contrast in my face. But it does have some orange tones to it. Be nice if I actually got it in like where my lip is. I have some freckles along my lips, and so sometimes it looks like I smudged my lipstick, but it's just flippin' freckles, and they happen to be the same color. I like this one on camera. I think when I'm looking at it in my bathroom that it looks a little bit pale, and so I haven't been using it, but that's really pretty. It's almost the same shade as my shirt, the shadows of my shirt. All right, that's Sienna. I don't recommend this one for a cool skin tone. I think that one would be too warm. The Scarlet Fire, I actually think would look really good with, like if you're a summer and, if you have a warm skin tone, or I think it would work really well for a cool skin tone too. You can have a bunch of little fibers on my lip. All right. This one's one of my favorites, but it's also kind of hard and weird for me. So this one is called Cayenne, and this one's very orange. So you can see that it's quite a bit oranger than the Sienna. I think that there are times when I can pull off this orange, even though I look fantastic in orange. I find that I might need like a little bit of balancing with this. I also, when I do color, I wouldn't really ever use an orange lipstick with an orange shirt. So like that's too matchy-matchy for me. So I would maybe consider, like, I brought a maroon jacket, but this is really pretty, right? So maybe a little peach blush on there. But yeah, the same shade of orange I wouldn't wear. So either something more peach or something ivory or maybe something black. One thing that I really like about this lipstick though is when I pull it off, the other ones don't stain my lips, but if I just pull this one off just a little bit, it kind of feels like, I got so many little cotton fibers. It looks really quite natural, like just a little blush. And I find that this is nice. Maybe use like a little lip liner on there, but it still has that orange color, which looks really good with my skin, but it's not so bright. And so sometimes I'll use, if I end up buying a lipstick that is too cool for my skin tone, I will put Cayenne underneath as an orange layer and then put in something that's more pink. And then I'll end up with a nice peachy orange, orange pink color. And that looks a lot better on me. Okay. Next, Red Earth. I think I got this one at Whole Foods like so long ago. just tell that there's just a little too much on there. Okay. This one, I find that it's a little bit too dark for me. But I do like it in the context of a more business, or maybe I really wouldn't use it for like an evening lipstick, but I would use it for more business stuff. That's why I brought the burgundy jacket up, because I think that it looks really good with some of these darker colors with me. But for the most part, it's a little bit too dark. But you know, you can balance it out with other colors and contrast in your face. I'm surprised my lips aren't bright red yet. Okay, this one is Red Zin. Red Zin is for wine. And I remember that this one is weird because I would think of like, I don't know, like you would think of wine, but this one has a surprisingly pinky purple. I don't use this one very often, and you can probably tell why. For me, I think it has too much pink, too much purple. It's a little bit too blue. But if you have a blue skin tone, this would probably be blue skin tone with some high contrast. This is like knock it out of the park color. This is one that I will mix with the cayenne, where I'll put the cayenne first and then add this one. But I find that it's too pinky. That feels so weird. How about just with the orange? A little better. Maybe with some coral. It's got some of that pink in there. This one is Black Cherry. Now, I personally think, and the marketing department didn't come talk to me, but between Red Zin and Black Cherry, these should have been swapped, in my opinion. Of course, I'm not a wine drinker, so I wouldn't know. Oh, I did want to say for this Red Zin, and you know, maybe it's just age, but I remember not liking it when I first got it. This one had a gritty feel to it, and that was another reason I didn't love that one. But maybe it was just my tube. None of the other ones are really like that. Oh, and I remember that this one here was always really hard. So it's not one of those lipsticks you want to have like in your purse during the winter. I don't know what happened to this one, but it's like so flat, blunted. I think it's too dark for me, but it is a good color. It has such a nice brown undertone, so, you know, this is nice, but not really my shade. I'd say a little bit darker. I have wiped this off in the past and used it more like a lip stain. Trying to get it evened out. So, I mean, that's okay. It's not that great, but as a kind of more of a lip stain, it's just looks more natural and part of me rather than something. I will say for these, they do come off when you use them. So if you have white coffee cups, they will come off on that. They do wash off with like just some, we don't use Dawn soap, but you know, just some dish detergent. So that is one thing that I noticed. So I usually reapply after lunch. And that's another reason why on some of these darker lipsticks, they're kind of nice, and the Cayenne, they kind of function as a lip stain. So even if you lose some of it on a cup, you'll still look like you have a little bit of color on your lips. It doesn't completely go away. I wanted to share two more while we were doing lipstick try-ons, and that is the Clear, I don't know how to pronounce it. They have never done a video or commercial or anything where you can hear how to say it, but it is, it might be backwards for you. Clear, Clay, You're clear. Oop, you're clear. I don't know. Okay, so I've got two. One is Emma, one is Layla. I can't say I love these, but they might work for you, especially if you have like some younger gals as well that might want to, you want to transition into a lip tint, but maybe not a full-on lipstick. These might be some options. One of them is okay. One of them looks terrible on me. So let's do the terrible one. This is the pink one, which is Emma. It actually feels pretty good. Ooh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely feels like a lip balm. It's very smooth. I guess it doesn't look terrible. It's just, this is definitely a blue undertone pink, but that's not bad. I should be less self-conscious. Okay, let's look at the ingredients on these. I just looked them up and it looks like Walmart's selling them. So that's interesting. So they come in they're selling them separately, at least on Amazon. I think I bought these in a set. So let's see what is in here. Okay, there's lots of stuff. Rice bran oil, Candelia wax, cocoa butter. That's interesting. I don't like cocoa butter in lipstick, but I can't smell any cocoa in there. So that's great. Shea butter, vitamin E, tocopherols, mica, iron oxide, and then it explains what they all do. But the squalane oil, which is rice bran oil, I think is a really nice touch. I think that's probably what I'm noticing the difference on. And if I didn't mention it, I do have both of these listed on the directory for my lowsallife.com/directory, and you can search lipstick or gloss or something like that, or and you can find them. And I have links to Amazon. If I find them in more places, like I just noticed the Walmart link, I will add those as well, so that you, depending on where you are, may have more options. So that's the purpose of that. Okay, this is good. Let's see. Oh, where'd my jacket go? Oh, here we go. That's cute. I like that kind of burgundy pink. I do wear a fuchsia color, a bright fuchsia that looks nice. So maybe I might experiment with that in the future. How many cotton pads had to die today? I always tell people that I love plants so much that I stopped eating them. I always think that's funny. Okay. I feel like this one was kind of gritty. Maybe I'll wipe off the top. Yeah, this one's really kind of firm. Okay, the next one is the Layla. All the Laylas I've known have been awesome. Yeah, this feels definitely very, very soft. Very soft and very shiny. You can tell that this one is a much better color for me. This one feels very natural. I don't love how shiny it is. It is really slippery, so I mean, this would be really fun to have, I think, like when I go like on botanical trips or go hunting. I'm usually covering myself in like lanolin and oils and stuff to keep from drying out. But yeah, I like this color. It looks good. The issue with this is if you get it outside, like, you know, sometimes when I'm using lip gloss and I'm out and I don't have a mirror, I end up with gloss outside my lip line. And so this isn't one that you'd want to just like, you know, plaster on without looking. You definitely want to. It definitely colors very easily outside of where you put it. Anywhere you put it, you're going to have color. Well, I think this turned out nice. Well, there you go. I have a whole pile of little videos to work through. I did end up doing an Andrea Rose haul, so keep an eye out for those. I got 4 items from them. I haven't really unboxed them, so we'll try those out and see what they're like. And yeah, if thank you so much for being here. If you're new here and just came here for the lipstick color review, the reason why I use these is because I have a salicylate sensitivity or aspirin allergy, and it's in a whole bunch of different things, including oils. So if you want to learn more about that sensitivity, check it out. That includes like reacting to anything like benzoyl peroxide and salicylic acid in your cosmetics, like your cleansers and creams. So if you've had reactions to that and maybe you do really well with Hemp Organics lipstick, go and check out some of my other videos about what salicylates are and how they can affect your life if you're sensitive to it. All right, I will see you guys later. Bye.